We're going to be doing one skillet meals all week, breakfast and dinner. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you are with Grammy in the kitchen. The first skillet meal we're going to make is kind of made up. We're going to take some potatoes, onions, and ground beef with some aromatics and make a delicious skillet meal. But first, I need to peel some potatoes, and I have 2 onions here. They're still firm, but I'm going to go ahead and dice one of these up. So we're going to use half an onion. The other half I'm going to put in the refrigerator. We can have this later this week. And I'm using 3 russet potatoes. I'm just going to peel. I'm going to dice them up into 1/2-inch cubes. Rinse them off and just leave them in water until we're ready for them. Just dice them up into 1/2-inch cube. Potatoes rinsed and sitting in some water. We're not quite ready for that. I have a pound of organic, grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef. I get this from either Lidl's, Kroger, or Walmart. This was actually bought at Walmart. I have a pint-sized jar of chicken broth, some smoked paprika. I have some Worcestershire sauce, pepper jack cheese. I have the large cast iron skillet on the stove warming up. I'm going to add a little bit of avocado oil. Once this pan is hot, we're going to go ahead and add the ground beef and cook that, and then we can add the potatoes and the chicken broth, cover it up, and we're going to stick it in the oven. Let's go ahead and add our ground beef. So the hamburger is probably about 60 to 70% cooked. I'm going to go ahead and add the onions. Get those sauteed in here until they're just a little translucent and soft. All right, so we are ready to move on. Decided I'm going to add a can of corn. I have drained the liquid. I'm going to add a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to add a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a pint or 2 cups of chicken broth, I'm going to add a pinch of pepper, a pinch of salt, our diced, drained potatoes, I'm going to use the pizza pan as a lid. I'm going to leave that undisturbed for about 30 minutes. It has been 15 minutes in that 30 minutes, but I want to check the potatoes. Oh, family, perfect. So ignore the 30 minutes, just do it for 15 minutes. The liquid has evaporated. absorbed by those potatoes. I got the hiccups, sorry. I'm gonna turn the burner off. I do want to taste it for seasoning. Family, that is pretty good, but it does need a little touch. I'm going to add another tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. So now we're up to 2. 1 more teaspoon of smoked paprika. Just a little bit of salt. And a teeny bit of pepper. I'm going to stir that in. This is coming together faster than I thought it would. And I have a package of home grated pepper jack cheese. We'll sprinkle that right on the top. I'm gonna put that in the oven until the cheese is melted and it's bubbly. And I'll let you know how long that takes. I'm guessing about 10 minutes. 10 minutes is up. Let's check on our skillet. Oh, family. Oven off. Look how beautiful that is. It's not soup. All that broth is absorbed with the vegetables and that hamburger. Oh, family. Let's see if we can find the perfect bite to get some corn, some hamburger, some cheesy potatoes. Oh, the potatoes are cooked perfect. That is very flavorful. Family, that was so simple. Just things we have in our pantry, our freezer, hamburger, canned corn, potatoes. I use smoked paprika, but you can use regular paprika if you like. Worcestershire sauce, onions, salt and pepper. So simple. And then of course, any cheese that you like. Pepper jack cheese is one of my favorites, so that's what I used. Colby Jack will be good on here. You can go crazy with the vegetables. If you have broccoli, green beans, whatever vegetable your family enjoys, you can add that in replace of the corn or in addition to the corn. Whatever you like. I'm very happy. As soon as the husband gets home, we'll sit down and have dinner. Can't wait to bring you back in the kitchen and we'll make another delicious one skillet meal. But now we're going to cook breakfast. So we're just going to have bacon, eggs, and toast. I told the husband I didn't have no sourdough bread, so we're just going to use his regular bread that he buys for his lunches for toast. We need to go to the stove and cook some bacon. So I got the standard size cast iron skillet on the stove top. I'm going to let that get really hot. Then I'm going to cook a ½ pound of bacon. So the bacon is done. So I have a piece of paper towel. I do want to wipe this pan just a bit. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of bacon grease in here. So I have 5 eggs. We'll put a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, and I have a tablespoon of water. Now we're just going to scramble up some eggs. So I just put some bread in the toaster oven. Put a smear of butter. And that's what we're going to have for breakfast. So the husband and I are going to sit down and have breakfast together. Plus, we still have to cook dinner tonight. So I'll see you in a bit, family. It's time to cook dinner. Chicken and stuffing with gravy. Everything in one skillet. So I have 1 of our packages of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. It's 4 pieces, but really it's just 2 breasts that's cut into half. Still a little frozen, but that's okay. We're going to cut that up into little cubes. Let me wash my hands, clean up my countertop. So we have chicken, our homemade dried bread cubes we did from sourdough bread. I have about a half a cup of diced onions. These are frozen, where they're thaw. They were frozen. And the same thing with carrots and celery. I have about 1.5 cups of chicken broth in this jar. This is what was left over from where we did a canning session. Make chicken stock. Plus I have another pint just in case we need it. Let's move over to the stove and start assembling our 1 skillet chicken and stuffing with gravy. I have the large cast iron skillet on the stove top. I'm going to get that nice and hot with a little bit of olive oil. Let's go ahead and add the chicken. I'm going to add a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. We like to season in layers. And I'm just going to cook this until it's no longer pink, and then we can add the other ingredients. In this bowl, I'm going to go ahead and make the stuffing. Now this was 1 whole sourdough bread that we cut up into cubes, baked it in a 250-degree oven, tossing it for every 30 minutes for 3 hours. Add a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, about a 1/4 cup of dried sage. That stuff smells so good. This is a 1/4 teaspoon measure, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. I have a pint-sized jar of chicken broth. I want to coat all those bread cubes and let it absorb some of that liquid. And we'll come back to this in a second. And we're still working on the chicken. I'm going to go ahead and add the onions. Now you can use fresh onions if you like, but I do enjoy having already diced frozen onions. Same thing with the carrots and the celery. I just want to cook that just for a bit. Chicken and frozen vegetables render off a lot of water. I do want to cook and let that evaporate just a bit. Just breaking up the chicken into smaller little bite-sized pieces. Alright, so when most of that liquid is gone, we'll move on and get our gravy going. I do have the oven preheating to 350 degrees because this is going to be a stovetop to oven dish. The water has evaporated. Clear a little spot right here in the center. And put 2 tablespoons of butter. Turn it down to medium heat. I have 2 tablespoons of flour. Get that stirred in and let it cook for 1 minute. This is some chicken stock that did not get canned. It's about 1.5 cups. It is congealed just a bit, but that is okay. So dump that in. I need to get all that out. When your chicken stock congeals like that, you know you got all the nutrients from those bones. We're going to be making a gravy. Plus the leftover from this jar. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of this chicken broth powder. I'm going to let that thicken up just a bit. Then we can add our seasoned bread cubes. Then I decided I want to go ahead and add a can of green beans. I drained the water. That way it's a full meal in this one skillet. Let's taste it for seasoning. Oh, family, that is so good. I'm going to add just another pinch of pepper and a small pinch of salt. I can turn the burner off. I'm going to put our seasoned bread cubes right on top. I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil. And I'm going to put this in the oven. We'll check it in 30 minutes. And that'll be a perfect amount of time for me to put all my things back away. This needs to go in the island. Sage needs to go back into the pantry. I need to put my garlic powder, onion powder away, and I need to wash dishes. I'll see you in 30 minutes. The aroma coming out of that oven, oh family, smells like Thanksgiving. I am going to put it back in the oven for about another 15 minutes without the aluminum foil because I want that bread to get a nice little crisp on it. It has been 15 additional minutes. I'm going to leave this right here on this handle so I know it's hot. But yeah, that's what we're looking for. Oh, family, this looks beautiful. It's the perfect all-in-one meal. See if we can find the perfect bite with a piece of chicken, some green beans, gravy, and a piece of bread. Chicken is cooked perfect. The bread has a little chew to it. Not hard, but just the right chew. Another successful one skillet meal. The next one skillet meal we're going to make is actually breakfast. We're going to make a Dutch baby. But I am actually going to put sausage in my Dutch baby. On the stove, I have a standard size cast iron skillet. We're going to go ahead and cook the sausage, and the rest of it we'll put in the oven. And we'll get this pan super hot, and then we'll start the sausage. Our skillet is hot. We're going to go ahead and start cooking the sausage. I have the large measuring cup. That's where we're going to make our ingredients in. We have 3 eggs, a half a cup of milk, a half a cup of all-purpose flour, need a little pinch of salt. We'll put 2 tablespoons of sugar and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Whisk everything together. And we'll be ready for this in a minute. I added a teaspoon of bacon grease. My homemade sausage is not as fatty as store-bought sausage. I have the oven preheating to 425 degrees. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of butter, and I'm just guessing. That looks about right. And I'm going to put this in the oven until that butter melts. Skillet is hot, butter has melted. I'm going to spread the sausage till it covers the whole bottom of the pan. And here's our custard mixture, the eggs, the flour, the milk, salt, sugar, and nutmeg. Back in the oven. And we're going to cook that for 20 minutes on 425 degrees. Then we're going to reduce the temperature to 300 and cook it for an additional 5 minutes. Can't wait to show you the product because it is so beautiful. I don't want to open the oven and lose the heat, but can you see how it's puffing up on the sides? This is looking through the door of the oven, but look at that. So cool. We still have 12 minutes left before we have to reduce the heat. Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen in your life? And we have 3 minutes left before we have to turn the temperature down. Five more minutes, breakfast will be ready. Look at that, family. It is beautiful. It's light and airy. So put a little bit of maple syrup. You can put jams or jelly. You could put some fresh fruit. Make a fruit compost, which is fresh fruit or frozen fruit, cooked in a saucepan with a little bit of sugar until it's mushy. It's kind of like a fruit syrup, not like a jam or jelly. So this is everything we need for breakfast. We have our Dutch baby, which is basically a baked pancake, and sausage. So we have protein and deliciousness. Family, that is really good. Well, the husband and I are going to sit down and have breakfast. We do have to cook dinner tonight, so I'll bring you back when we're ready to cook dinner. The last meal we're going to make in our one skillet dinners, it's going to be a pasta with a marinara sauce and sweet Italian sausage. So I have all the components right here. I'm using a can of diced tomatoes, one of our home canned chicken broth. I have 6 ounces of macaroni pasta, some homemade mozzarella I made yesterday. If you're interested in a video on how I make homemade mozzarella, I'll leave a link in the description below. I have a little bit of diced onions, sausage, and some herbs and spices. We're doing Italian seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, and of course, salt and pepper. I have the large cast iron skillet on the stove. I'm going to add a little bit avocado oil, let that heat up. And as for the sausage, I'm just going to remove the casing by cutting a slit. Then we can just take the casing right off. And to keep everything clean and not cross-contaminating, I washed my hands with soap and water. And I'm just going to cook the sausage until it's no longer pink. Then we can move on to the next step. Homemade mozzarella does not grate or shred as easily as aged mozzarella, but it will shred just fine. I'm just going to use the hand shredder, get that all nice and broken into pieces. And I'm still keeping an eye on the sausage on the stove. This mozzarella was made from a gallon of milk, and it took 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid and 1/4 teaspoon of rennet. I think I'm only going to need half. So we're about 3/4 of the way of cooking the sausage. Go ahead and add about 1/2 cup of diced onions. And I'm just going to cook that until the onions are soft and a little translucent. Constantly going in here and breaking up any big chunks of sausage. So I have 1 tablespoons frozen tomato paste. I took it out of the freezer first thing this morning, so it's thawed. That's going to give you that umami, mouth-filled flavor. But I do want to toast it. I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. It already smells good, and we aren't nowhere near ready. Just the seasoning and that tomato paste with that sausage. Oh, the flavor is beautiful. I'm going to add a pint of chicken broth. Trying to pick up those burnt bits on the bottom of this pan. That is pure flavor. Going to add a can of diced tomatoes. I'm going to bring this to a boil. Let it cook for about 10 minutes. I'm going to taste it for any seasoning. Then we can add our pasta and any water that we need. Let's taste it for seasoning. As you all are probably aware of, tomatoes has an acidic taste to it. So I like to break that acidic with some brown sugar. So I'll put in about 1.5 tablespoons of brown sugar. Let's taste it. Perfect. I have 6 ounces of macaroni pasta. I'm just going to let that cook until the pasta is done. Every now and then I'm going to come in here and give it a good scrape to make sure nothing is sticking to the bottom. That's probably going to take about 20-30 minutes maybe, but I'll let you know how long that takes. So it's been about 8 minutes so far. A lot of the liquid has cooked out, absorbed by the macaroni, but they're not done. I'm going to add 1 cup of water. Just so we can have enough liquid to cook those pastas. All right, we can continue on, coming in here, giving it a good scrape on the bottom. Make sure the starches of those pastas not sticking to the pan. Maybe 10 more minutes. I'm gonna leave it uncovered, so while the macaroni is cooking, some of that water will evaporate off. 10 more minutes, family. It's been a total of 14 minutes. Look how beautiful that is, family. I'm going to go ahead and taste one of our pastas to make sure they're done. That is perfect. I'm going to turn the burner off. I do have the oven preheated to 350 degrees. This is some home grated Parmesan cheese. I'm just going to add a handful, maybe a cup. That looks good. I'm going to stir that in. That is going to add flavor, plus it'll help thicken up the sauce. And our grated mozzarella, we'll sprinkle right on the top. That's going to go in a 350 degree oven for about 10 minutes, just till that cheese melts and becomes ooey and gooey. And during that 10 minutes, I'm going to get all the dishes washed, put the clean dishes away, wash the dirty dishes, and get this kitchen reset. Then we can have dinner. Look at that, family. Another delicious 1 skillet meal. Perfect. You can serve this with a salad if you like. We have some sourdough bread right here. I probably will make garlic bread for dinner, but for right now, I need to let this cool off a bit because it's lava hot, and then we'll sample it. All right, it's been sitting here for about 10 minutes. Pasta is cooked perfect. Family, that is really good. We just took pantry staple things: broth, tomatoes, herbs and spices, pasta. We took some sausage from the freezer. We added homemade mozzarella, but you can definitely use any kind of mozzarella you like. If you don't like mozzarella, add a different cheese. It doesn't matter. That's the thing about making homemade, no box needed, 1 skillet meals, is you can make this to fit your family, what you like. I hope you get inspired by these 1 skillet meals, breakfasts and dinners. If you find one that is your favorite, leave a comment below and let me know which one it is. I really don't have a favorite. I like them all. They're all pretty good. So we used chicken, hamburger, and now sausage. Plus we had a breakfast Dutch baby, which was really, really good. And at the beginning of the week, we just did bacon and eggs and toast. If you would please give this video a thumbs up while you're at it. Go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. In this kitchen, we take foods we like outside the house, make them homemade from scratch with ingredients we know, ingredients we trust, to feed our bodies and give it some nutrients so we could go on about our day. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family. Let me know which one was your favorite.